What's up guys, Nathan here, and today I want to talk about the biggest bluffing mistake that I still see all amateurs making these days. This might be costing you money too. Let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so I'm going to walk you through an example hand today of a bluff that you do not want to be making at the poker table. This is something that I still see so often in the smaller and mid-stakes games in particular, and honestly guys, it's just one of these beginner mistakes that is quite easy to fix. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about bluffing with small pocket pairs. Guys, this is almost always a really bad idea for one simple reason, and that is because you almost always have very poor equity. And again, we're going to go through an example today. I'm going to show you step by step exactly what I'm talking about. So let's jump into that hand right now. You've got two red fours, one of these baby pocket pairs, pocket fours, on the button versus an EP raise, early position raise from a tag, tight, and aggressive player. So what should we be doing in a spot like this? Well, I think just flatting pre-flop is pretty standard here. I typically do not want to be 3-betting with a hand like this pre-flop. Is outside of the scope of this video. I have a free poker cheat sheet, which you can download if you want to know my entire 3-betting range. That'll be the top link in the description below. When I say 3-betting, I mean re-raising. But typically in this spot, I much prefer to just flat call with a hand like this, because this is the kind of hand that just likes to see a flop, especially in position. I hope you guys have already noticed that we're going to be on the button, meaning we're going to be acting last on the flop, turn, and river. Massive, statistically proven advantage in poker. So we do just decide to go ahead and flat here. Let's go to the flop. Flop comes down with a jack of spades, 9 of hearts, and 6 of diamonds. Tag fires their C-bet, continuation bet. What should you be doing in a spot like this? Well guys, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. I know this is not the answer that everyone wants to hear. They all want some crazy bluff that we're going to run here. Guys, no, the best thing to do sometimes in poker is to simply cut your losses. So the best play here is just to simply fold right now. And the reason is very simple, guys. You only have 2 outs remaining in the deck, which are the other 2 remaining black fours in the deck, the 4 of spades and the 4 of clubs. That is not a very good spot to be in. This is going to give us something like 5% equity or so, maybe 10% at the very most, depending on if this player has any kind of pair. And if they have any kind of pair, they're literally close to 90% to win versus our hand. And guys, where a lot of people go wrong here is they don't realize that even on a flop of jack 9-6, even if this player doesn't have a pair, for example, they have a hand like 10-8, for example, which is an open-ended straight draw, there's still going to be a mathematical favorite against our hand, guys, because they have 6 outs with the 10 and the 8. There's 3 more 10s in the deck, and there's 3 more 8s in the deck. And they also have another 8 outs with their open-ended straight draw, and they also have counterfeit outs if the board were to run like with a jack and a 9 on the turn in the river. So even if your opponent does not have a pair in this situation, you are still in a bad spot. That's why it's better to just pitch your hand right now. Now let's talk about what hands you actually should be floating here with instead. I have multiple sections covering this in much more detail, by the way, in my brand new Elite Poker Training University. One of the biggest videos in my new course is all about floating. There'll be links to enroll right now in the description below. And I talk specifically about how you want to float with hands like ace queen, for example, on this flop. And there are several reasons why. Let's talk about that right now. So guys, this simple fact of the matter is a hand like ace queen is much better to float the flop here with. And when I say float, by the way, talking about just calling on the flop in position. That's the definition of a float in poker. And then our intention is to take it away later on. A lot of people get that confused as well. So anytime we're going to be calling on the flop here, we're definitely going to be taking stabs at the pot on the turn and the river, even if we don't hit. But getting back to the main point here, the reason why we want to call with a hand like ace queen and not a hand like pocket fours is because our 2 overcards have a lot more equity in this situation. They have at least 6 outs. For example, you have 3 aces in the deck, the ace of diamonds, ace of spades, ace of clubs, and you also have 3 queens, the queen of diamonds, queen of hearts, and the queen of spades. And I hope you guys also noticed that you would have a backdoor straight draw with this hand on the board. If the turn, for example, came with the king of spades and the river came with the 10 of diamonds, you you would make an unbeatable hand, the nut straight, and we typically add another out when you have a backdoor draw, like a backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. So 7 total outs versus only 2 outs with the small pocket pair. Guys, I hope you can see that this is the reason why it is much better to float with 2 overcards, for example, or even some sort of draw. Even a hand like 10-8 has a lot more equity. Guys, if you want to start saving yourself a lot of money at the poker tables, understand that a hand like pocket 3s, pocket 4s, pocket 5s, these hands really just want to see a flop and try to hit a set. That's how you're going to make a lot of money with these hands. And I do need to point out that a lot of people don't know that these hands actually are not profitable over the long run. We do discuss this in many videos on the channel here before, that we do need to play several hands that are not actually directly profitable. And you don't have to take my word for it. If you play online poker, you can just use a program like Poker Tracker. I'll include links for that in the description below, and you can go and check your results with all 169 hands in Texas Hold'em, and you will almost certainly, if you played any amount of poker, you will notice that you are not winning with small pocket pairs. Usually pocket 2s up to pocket 6s are going to be small losing hands over the long run for you. But a lot of amateurs turn these hands into big losing hands for themselves by making bad bluffs in situations like this, where again, you're swimming upstream, guys, and you only have 2 outs with these small pocket pairs. So bottom line, guys, you typically want to keep the pot small pre-flop with these hands. You want to go to the flop and just see if you can nail your set. If you don't hit your set, meaning 3 of a kind, you often want to be getting out of there. Don't get tricky with these hands, guys. It's one of the biggest mistakes I see amateurs still making all the time. Guys, like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. And once again, if you want to know my entire strategy for crushing these small and mid-stakes games, make sure you grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. That'll be the top link in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I will catch you next time.